Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for coming out to support Matt Jordan. He's a local author. Matt loves to write, and after graduating from The Ohio State University and earning his honorable discharge from the U.S. Army, Matt completed a writing class in New York City. Several of his articles were published nationwide, including Making Your Budget Work for You in Real Estate Today magazine. He began a study on how to control levels of consciousness, reduce stress levels, and increase our inner power to use in all of his work. He used this subject to draft his first book, Unleash Godly Power, which has helped many readers improve their health, happiness, and success. Setting extraordinary goals, he began his ventures in the worlds of business, investments, music, and writing. He loves to teach and deliver motivational speeches, and he lives with his wife, Patricia, in their Hudson Valley, New York home, and part-time in their condominium in Florida. He loves to travel, but his favorite times are spent with his family. So thank you so much for all being here, and if you join me in giving Matt a nice home warm welcome from Poughkeepsie.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Deb, and thank you all for being here. As I was saying prior to the thing, you could read these books, but it's not the same as hearing them integrated together, because the second book is actually a sequel to the first book and requires knowledge of the concepts that are in the first book. So I'm going to be going back and forth between both of these books to give you a complete understanding. We have the power to move mountains. I'm going to show you why we can't and what's holding us back from using that power. The importance to relax, to take time for ourselves, the importance to exercise and meditate and pray, how we can control our level of consciousness and how it affects our health, our happiness, our success, how we should deal with hard times, using these concepts from the first book, and how we can increase our happiness, and ultimately how we think will determine our destiny. And I'll prove that to you with syllogism. If any of you have studied logic in the past, the absolute logic is how we think will ultimately determine our ultimate destiny in life. I'm going to explain why we're all sick, whether we know it or not, and have any symptoms, how we should deal with the loss of a loved one, depression, insomnia, illness, stress, anxiety, and many of these bad things that we all go through at life, just at different times, different things. You can help any of your friends by knowing these concepts and explaining these to them, and I hope that you do so. I did a rehab talk a couple of weeks ago to a group of former addicts, and they all left feeling that they're going to have control of themselves, a feeling that they're not going to go back to the drugs or alcohol or gambling or whatever got them there. And I felt good knowing that I did some good for some people who were really going through some very, very difficult times trying to come out of addiction. I'm going to go through some of the causes of hard times, how to get through them, and how we can even avoid them, because believe it or not, we cause a lot of our own hard times. Some we don't, some we do. So let's get into the concept right away, because this is number one. Understanding this is understanding both of the books. I have a nice chart like this, which I forgot to bring to put up on the wall, so I drew it roughly. But let me go through and explain this whole thing. This is our level of consciousness. This is our inner power. We were all born with the power to move mountains. You read that in your Bibles. But why don't we have that power? If you're at the peak, it's all the way up here, at the total peak of your level of consciousness, where it could be, you have 100% power to move mountains or do anything. Unfortunately, a lot of things drive us down in our level of consciousness. And as we go down in that level of consciousness, so do we go down in our inner power. So does everybody get that concept? We're trying to move upward. So the goal here is to pick our level of consciousness and show how symbiotically it affects our inner power. We've all, I think, seen the chart on our brain. I'm going to turn this around for 1 second, and I'll turn it back because we want to keep the other chart. If this is our brain here, total brain power that we have the ability to do, we're born with the ability to do, that's all we use. I don't know if you've seen that, but this is a fact. And it ties into these other charts for all of the same reasons. So you can actually increase your power to use more of your brain by controlling this thing and everything that you do. So it's very important that we understand that. Now, can this level of consciousness affect our productivity in our business or our job? Absolutely. Because if we don't work to stay up level, you're going to constantly drop down level. And when you drop down level, a lot of bad things happen. Let's talk about what happens if you're at the top. If you're at the top of the level of consciousness, you can actually feel what the Bible calls the fruits of the spirits: love, joy, peace, kindness, patience, gentleness, faithfulness, forgiveness, and self-control. And if we're down the bottom, you're going to experience all the opposites of those things. Totally in the pit, you can't do anything. You want to put your head on your desk and just be left alone. And this is what will happen if we don't daily, every day, every morning, I do what I call as my morning routine to work at coming up. Because there's a certain truth that I studied in one of my nonfiction books, and that is sleep does not remove stress. Any of you ever done TM, Transcendental Meditation? I studied all the different methods when I was going through this whole thing, trying to gear my life, to slow down my aging, to make me as healthy as possible, to make me as successful as possible. And I studied every method of stress release and rising up in consciousness. And I found the one, I'm a scientific person, the only one that proved to me that it worked was TM. It proved that to me through physics and through actual testing of the body, where it was found during tests while doing TM. You actually slow down your heart rate, slow down your blood pressure, and this is all proven, and you can all read about it and study it. And it works by the law of physics. By thinking a word, any word, it could be a word like gentle. It could be Jesus. It could be Om, a mantra that many of us has heard about. Any word that you think of over and over and over for 20 minutes will reduce levels of stress. At first, you're thinking the word very rapidly because thoughts are trying to come to our mind, right? Especially when we're down level and we have insomnia and we're laying there in bed, we're going through all the things that are upsetting us. And then when we get down to the end of the list, we start all over again, don't we? And that's because we're not working towards getting up here every single day as high as we can possibly get. The more, if I forget a few days or don't have the time for a few days to do my morning routine of meditation, of prayer, of breathing, you know, you have to, my books do explain several breathing techniques that we should use every single day to release stress. Reading, I like to read the Bible, but you can read any good book that helps you for a little bit in the morning before you get up, and it helps to remove stress. You can think of declining colors. You can listen to soft music. Exercise, believe it or not, actually helps to remove stress. Other things that bring us down level are sickness, our own sickness or that of a loved one, disappointments, the loss of a loved one, which is a terrible thing to go through, the loss of a job or the loss of our money, failure in whatever we're doing. And these things, again, can all be dealt with by learning to control our level of consciousness and our level of inner power. So we fight the effects of each of these things by thinking the positive affirmations when you wake up, especially during the slumber period. I feel good, it's going to be a great day. A lot of positive affirmations, but you want to meditate at least 20 minutes in the morning and at least 20 minutes at night before you go to bed, because you're building stress all through the day in our jobs or whatever, and you want to get rid of that before you go to bed to help you to sleep better. Now I want to talk about the power of our subconscious. There's a lot of things that the subconscious does for us that we don't have to do for ourselves. it takes care of our breathing, our digestion, our blood flow, our body, the functions of our body organs. All these things happen without us thinking about it, right? We don't have to think, I need to take a breath, I need to take a breath, or any of these things. They happen by control of the subconscious mind. Now, I want you to understand something really important. The subconscious mind and the mind itself is not just the brain. It's a lot more than that. It's your solar plexus, which is a group of nerves that are just behind the stomach or towards the back, and also every single cell of your body. How do I know this? In reading the many books I've read numerous cases of people that receive organ transplants and started thinking the things of the person that gave them the organ, which is unbelievable, but it's absolutely true. This has been recorded. It's been proven. So your mind is not just your brain. Your mind is your absolute entire body. So there's things that the subconscious mind does for us, and we should take advantage of that. We can do things that will help us to use the subconscious mind more. For example, I'm a musician. I worked my way through college playing trumpet, by and large. I could play, again, I was playing operas at 9 years old, as Deb told you, but I can play jazz solos now doing the fastest you can play, which is 64th notes. That means in every 4-beat measure, I could play 64 notes. It's impossible for the conscious mind to think of 64 notes in 4 beats. If you can't build such a grasp of the ability to do that into your subconscious mind, so the subconscious mind takes over and it does it without you consciously thinking about it. Now, not just musicians can learn to do this, but in all fields. Writers learn to do this, where the subconscious mind, again, a lot of these things that came in these books came out of my subconscious mind. I actually read these books myself when I feel a need to, and I go, did I write that? So it came out of the subconscious mind. And again, teachers also very often get in front of classes and speak, and things will come out of them through their subconscious mind. So we have a lot of power, inner power, that we got to be careful what we think, because we can make bad things happen to ourselves. We can make bad things happen to others. So we have to, there's an old saying, what goes around comes around. There's a reason for that saying, because a lot of people bring harm upon themselves by causing and thinking and wanting harm for someone else. And that's just something that we shouldn't do for our own sake. Our thoughts lead to our actions, correct? They lead to our thoughts, and they lead to our actions, what we do. The actions that we do all day long lead to habits that we create for ourselves. The habits that we create for ourselves lead to our lifestyle, and our lifestyle will ultimately lead to our destiny. So therefore, the logic behind this and the conclusion of the syllogisms are that how we think will determine our ultimate destiny in life. And are we going to be happy in what we do? Are we doing what our purpose in life was meant for us to do? And we should be. We were all born to be happy. We're not born to be sad or upset. And so many of the things that bring us down here, we bring upon ourselves, because we're not doing things to bring ourselves up conscious every single day. And when things get bad, really bad in our jobs or in the economy or whatever, we just allow ourselves to drop lower and lower and lower and lower and lower. And what happens then? You get sick. We ourselves are responsible to make ourselves happy. It's nobody else's mission. It's nobody else's responsibility. And in any situation, and if the weather is bad, like today, the weather is bad, you can tell yourself, well, I'm going to have a terrible day because the weather is bad, or you can find a way to have a great time. And in fact, we intend to do that today because one of my friends is here and we're getting together, and we're going to find a way to enjoy the day no matter what the weather is outside. And we have to be able to do that. Other things that cause us to go down level and to be sad is, one thing is like worry. One of the books that I read gave me a nice description of what happens when we worry. It's like sitting on a stable bicycle in the gym, and no matter how fast, no matter how hard we pump, do we get anywhere? We get absolutely nowhere, right, except exercise. So that's the worry as well. And it's been proven, again, in many books and many statistics that I've looked at, that the vast majority of things that we worry about never, ever happen. So why we're wasting time worrying about them? And part of the reason we're worrying about them is we're allowing ourselves to drop. We're allowing ourselves to drop down here. And so instead of being productive and being happy and making the best of our day, no matter what's going on in our lives, we're doing the opposite and going into all the negative side of the things that we could feel. Fear is another thing. The vast majority of things that we fear never happen. It's a waste of time. We should really be trying to anticipate problems and trying to avoid problems as much as we can, and not fear something that hasn't happened already, because it's a waste of time to think about, oh, this could happen, oh, that could happen, oh, this can happen. Sure, all those bad things can happen. And you can even make them happen by thinking they're going to happen. That's how powerful your brain is. So you got to be very careful what you think, and you have to control how you think constantly. Other people offend us, don't they? It seems like a lot of people are bad. A lot of people want to make us unhappy. A lot of people want to down us, right? We have to control that. We have to bounce that off us. We can't get mad and lay in bed and think about it all night and think of revenge. We have to forgive them. And we have to forgive them why? For ourselves? Yes. We don't forgive them for them. We forgive them for ourselves. So what I like to do sometimes is when some idiot comes and says something that makes me upset, is I'll think these 3 words, and you should memorize them. Consider the source. Consider the source. Consider the source. And keep thinking that over and over, and not let it offend you, not let it affect your stress levels and how you feel. Another good thing, if they do something really bad to you, and you really want to get back at them, the words I use, again, are 3 words. And it's in the Bible. Vengeance is God. Vengeance is God's. Vengeance is God. No one gets away with doing wrong. No one. Vengeance is God. So if you think about letting him handle the vengeance, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to think about it. We all struggle with long lines. How many of you have gone into a store line or a bank line and you pick the shortest line, but the one next to you goes really, really fast, and yours just doesn't move, right? Or you're hitting every single red light trying to get somewhere when you're late. There's just so many things that can make us feel impatient. I struggle with this myself. I mean, I know these concepts, but if I don't keep myself up level, I'm going to struggle with things as well. So what I do when I'm in that line is I start to meditate. So if your meditation word is gentle, just think it over and over. Gentle, gentle, gentle. Maybe it's relax, relax, relax. Just keep thinking it over and over. Instead of stress building up in you during that period where you're standing there or waiting at the light, you are actually turning a negative into a positive, which what you always should do. And that's where the saying, every cloud has a silver lining, came from. It means that in anything that is bad, you could turn it into something good if you think about something positive that you could do during that period of time. And meditation is a great thing to do when we're in that. One of the songs, I've had several songs in the radio, as she told you, especially with Wells Kelly, who was the drummer in Orleans. And one of the songs he wrote that we recorded, they had quite a bit of airplay nationwide. It's called The Grass is Always Greener. And the whole concept and the whole point of the song is that the grass is not greener on the other side of the fence. A lot of times when people are way down level and everything is just going wrong in their life, they think, well, I should move. And that's not going to work, because if you're really down level and you've got a whole load of problems and you move, you're taking them all with you, right? The grass is not greener on the other side of the fence, and you lose your level of support where you're at. your friends, your relatives, wherever where you're at, is your level of support, and to go away from them can only make things worse. Now I want to talk about delayed happiness. We've all been guilty of delayed happiness. What are some examples of delaying our happiness? I'm going to be happy when I get my promotion. I'm going to be happy when I find a spouse. I'm going to be happy when I have a child. I'm going to be happy when I get out of school. I'm going to be happy when I win the lottery. Some of these things may never happen, right? So if you're going to delay your happiness until something's going to happen, you just completely wasted a lot of fun that you can have in your life. And I've always tried to have fun in my life, and I've always tried to make all the members of my family have fun, because we can't get through life without laughter. We have to find ways to laugh and get through life no matter what we're laughing about, because laughing actually heals. And one of the books I read, they talked about a guy that was given 6 months to live. So he figured, the heck with it. I'm just going to watch comedies all day long. I'm not going to do anything. He actually watched comedies all day long, every single day, laughed and laughed and laughed, went for his checkup in 6 months, and the doctor said, I can't believe it, but your illness is gone. So, we can, in many cases, end illnesses by doing certain things like laughter and all the things that we're talking about doing here today. There needs to be harmony in our lives. In music, harmony is what? It's beautiful blended chords with the chords being several different notes, which creates the harmony. And we like to build and should build harmony in our homes and harmony in our relationships. And whether we're living with a spouse or living with friends or living with other people, if there's no harmony there, it could be very bad for you, and it could bring you down level and affect your health, your happiness, and success. So when you're living with anyone, you do have to have some rules and some boundaries that everybody lives by. And if that does not exist, these type of things could bring you down level in consciousness. So we also want to do things like avoid scary movies, horror movies. To me, these are devil created. Why anyone would waste their time sitting watching gory things and people stabbing people and blood type movies, it's not good for you. It's not going to do anything good for you. How you can have fun or joy doing it, I don't understand. But it can bring you down level. Those movies can actually hurt you yourself just because you're watching them. I want to talk about health a little bit more now, which is a great section in the first book on why we're all sick. And it talked about things, like I said, toxins in the air, the free radicals that roam throughout our bodies, and the things that cause us to be sick. But I want to tell you something else. For example, the doctors, and I don't want to badmouth doctors. I go to doctors every year. I get testing every year. You need them. You should go. They're important. But I think they're off course on a lot of things. I think a lot of the medicines that they give us are unnecessary and can kill us. Maybe for a short period of time we need it, unless it's diabetes, then you need it all your life. But I think any medicine that they tell us to take, we should look it up, put the name, and put side effects. And you'll find in many cases, what you're taking that medicine for is causing that. For example, psychiatrists give medicines for anxiety. And if you read the side effects, one of the things they cause is anxiety. And we all like sugar. Sugar tastes great. But we really have to make that a now and then, once in a while kind of thing. That cannot be in your diet all day long. And unfortunately, that includes things that turn to sugar, like any carbs, pizza, pasta, and bread, any of these things that turn to sugar. And when I mention bread, by the way, we should never eat white bread. White bread is turned white with a poison substance because it's not supposed to be white. And doctors say, eat wheat bread. Actually, wheat bread has high in glutens, and wheat bread's very bad for you to eat as well. So you got to watch what people tell you to do and what people tell you to eat, because they could be actually telling you the wrong thing to do. So we need to control our food. Now, when I talk about health and I talk about sickness, one of the reasons why we're all sick is that our bodies, for the most vast majority of us, are acidic. Do any of you have a pool or a fish tank where you have to measure the pH? The pH could be either alkaline or it could be acidic. Now the level in the middle is 7.2 that you're looking for. And that's not just for fish. That's not just for pools so chemicals work properly, but it's also for our bodies. You should actually get a patch from the drugstore of pH because we're eating foods, by and large, that cause our bodies to be sick. Cancer, for example, cannot survive in an alkaline body. It can't. It just will not survive. It loves acidic bodies. So when we eat acidic foods and we cheat, we're actually feeding the cancer the worst things. I used to teach a lot of classes. Peter worked with me at one time. He was one of our managers. And I loved teaching classes. We used to have sales class half the meeting. And the second half, we always did training and teaching. And I can remember one of my classes, I never forgot this. One of my students said, Matt, would you define success? And I thought about it. And again, I leaned into my subconscious mind. Because to me, when I got out of college, I just wanted to be a millionaire. You know, I was tired of being poor. And as she said, I started very small, bought a small apartment building, sold it, then a bigger, then a bigger, and then a bigger. And if any of you people want to do that, I could show you how in 3 deals to become a millionaire. In 3 deals, I could teach you how to do that. So I said, okay, success, though, is not really a dollar level. It's not that. It's not that you have to have $1 million to be successful. Success is finding out what your purpose in life is and what the job is you're supposed to do, getting educated, getting experience, and doing it to the absolute best of your ability. If you do that, you're a very successful person in the eyes of God. You've achieved your purpose, you've achieved your mission in life, and you could be penniless. So it has nothing to do with an amount of money. It has everything to do with about doing the right kind of work and doing it well. Have measurable goals to be successful. Measurable goals. Example, in real estate, it takes so many appointments to get a sale, so many sales to close, so many closings to hit a certain amount of money. So I actually had each and every agent go through them. They tell me, and I go backwards. What do you want to make? 50,000, 100,000? I would back it up to how many sales they needed, how many contacts they had to make every day. And when I say measurable goals, it's not just by the annual, and it's not just by the year. You got to break them down by the month, by the week, by the day. If they're sending a rocket ship to the moon and it starts going off course, what do? They adjust, right? They adjust the direction of that rocket ship. We have to do the same thing. We can't wait till December and say, I'm not hitting my goals this year. It's too late. It's too late to double up or triple up your number of contacts to get the number of appointments that you need to get your sales. You have to know every month, I made my goals this month. Because then the next month you have an amount of control. You can increase your number of contacts a little bit and get back in line. Like that rocket ship gets back in line to the moon, you get yourself back in line with your goals. Now, when I say we should do the things that we were born to do to achieve our purpose in life, when I teach people how to do this, especially students, I'm going to be doing a talk soon at Vassar College, and I'll spend more time on this subject with them. First thing as I teach them to do is to decide what field of work you love. If it's music, there's a lot of jobs within that field. You could be a musician, writer, conductor, teacher, arranger, do radio, whatever. If it's medicine, you could be a doctor, nurse, practitioner, do lab testing. And within every field, there's a bunch of different jobs. So the first thing to decide, and you people should use this on your children, on your grandchildren, is to have them decide what field of work they would really love doing. So as I said, so you don't ever work a day in your life you're enjoying what you're doing. And then you pick the job that you want to do, and then you get the proper education to do it. And then before you open a business in it, you certainly want to go work for somebody and get the experience doing it. And then you can open up your own business, set your goals, set your measurable goals and numbers, and be successful at doing it. I've built many different companies through the years, several different companies, not just real estate. I built an ATM company, credit card processing company, insurance company. They're all the same. It doesn't matter what you're selling. These concepts of staying up level, staying productive, staying healthy will work no matter what you are doing. What you're doing or what you're selling doesn't really matter. It's how you do it and how you take care of yourself and the ability that you have to stay up level and do it at your highest possible level of power. Success also requires us to be patient, to use intuition, wisdom, to be self-motivated. I used to own a company called ERA of Hudson Valley, which we had real estate offices up and down the Hudson Valley on both sides of the river. And I used to do a lot of training and motivational talks there. But, you know, everybody left the discussion that I did or the talk that I did really motivated. But the problem is people leave and they don't do it. Most of the people don't do it. It's like Pareto's curve, you know, the bell-shaped curve. A small percentage achieve great results, small percentage fail, and the average is the bell, the top of the bell. That's also true of our bills. A few of our bills take most of our money. It's true in just about everything in life, the bell curve. We all go through bad times. It's just different things for each of us and at different times. A lot of things cause these, fears and unnecessary worry. Some people worry about the apocalypse. No one knows when the apocalypse is going to come. It's in the Bible. No one knows. So why worry about it coming? Probably not going to come in our lifetime. Getting involved with the occult brings a lot of people into bad times. You know, that's the devil. It's not something we should ever do. Of course, addictions are terrible, and the one thing I'm going to say about that, there's a lot in my books about coming out of addiction, is that you can't do it alone. An addict needs help. You know, whether it's Alcoholics Anonymous or it's going to a rehab, like the kids that I talked to a couple of weeks ago at a rehab center in Esopus, you need help to get out of some of these things. And if you know one that's in them, you need to motivate them to get help, because they just can't, you can't do it alone. I'm just saying that some of the things could cause us to go into hard times just because we're bringing ourselves down level. Divorce certainly could cause hard times. We mentioned the death of a loved one, going bankrupt, a poor mindset can bring us into bad times. So we avoid hard times by staying up level, staying healthy, forgiving everyone, for ourselves, not for them, for our laughing, our eating healthy, our avoiding bad things, controlling our thought, which I said will lead to our destiny. It'll lead to the things that we do. And that morning I mentioned that we should meditate, breathe. There's several different breaths in these books, fast, short, alternate nose breathing that we should do in the morning to help release stress and move up level. Things that are going to happen in our life, and we got to take a negative and turn it positive. When we feel into a positive, when we feel sadness, we have to turn it into happiness. We have to do it. We feel depression, we have to turn that into elation. If we feel fatigue, we have to turn it into powerful energy. If we feel weak, we have to turn it into strength. If we feel impatient, we have to turn that into patience. If we feel worried, we have to turn that into confidence and not worry about things that probably will never happen anyway. And if we go into an anxiety or especially a panic attack, or we're in a period of insomnia, in addition to breathing and meditating, we can also hold your breath for a count of 20 is a good way to stop a panic attack, and also counting back from 100 to 0. There have been nights where I missed a few days to doing my morning routine that I was so bad that I had to count back from 100 to 0 like 20 times before I fell asleep. So you keep doing it. You don't give up. You got to fight it. You got to stop the monkey jump thinking. You all know what monkey jump thinking is. You're laying in bed. You're usually worried about all the wrong things. You're angry about all the wrong things. You go through a whole list, whether it's your spouse, a relative, a friend, a boss, someone in a store, someone on the phone that you waited an hour to talk to that can't speak English or understand it. You have to, again, meditate, do something to not allow you to get really upset. One thing that many of us develop over time is a bad mindset. The good news is we could change our mindset. What is a mindset? Does anyone know? Our mindset is a set of attitudes that we develop during our lifetime. Attitudes. Do we listen to people when they talk, or do we talk over them? Are we courteous to others? Do we try to help others? Do we encourage or discourage the ideas of other people? Do we respect other people's rights? What is our frame of mind? Are we angry all the time? Are we nervous? Do we worry all our time? All these attitudes add up to our mindset. The good news is that we can change our mindset, and we can even change our bad habits. It only takes proven, again, one of the books I studied, 21 days to change a bad habit. Now, that's a struggle, but get a calendar and mark off each day, and in 20 days you can lick a bad habit and stop doing it. And that's a truth. So we can get rid of our bad habits. We can change our mindset to have a much more positive mindset, a mindset that has these fruits up here: love, joy, peace, kindness, goodness, patience, gentleness, faithfulness, forgiveness, and self-control is the mindset that we should all be working towards getting. The other thing is we want to have an I can attitude. I'll never forget when I had the real estate company, one of the agents was walking out the door, and I overheard the agent say, "I'm going out to show this house, but I know they're not going to buy it." What chance does that agent have of selling that property? Zero. And you have to go out saying, "I'm going to go out and I'm going to sell this house." That has to be your attitude. You can't think anything else but a positive, successful sale. I did that when I had to go to insurance once in my lifetime. I actually had people sold on the phone. Before I even went to the appointment, I said, "Have your checkbook. This is for you. There is nothing better for you. I'm going to leave with a check. You're going to buy this." And I closed 99% of my appointments. Very seldom did I leave an appointment without a sale, because I started the sale right from the time I made the appointment. Now, they tell you in sales classes, don't do that. Worked for me. That's all I can tell you. I think it's a good idea to tell them as much as you can. Do you want to go to somebody who actually doesn't care about what you're going to see them about? Do you actually want to go to someone who doesn't need what you're going to sell them? No. So I screen that garbage out. I spent most of my time on the phone, and I went to people that I thought that I was going to sell. It would be great, and it would help you a lot if you each pick up both of those books. You might want to buy it as a gift to give to somebody who is going through difficult times. They're down in level of consciousness. They're going through some really hard times. And if you read them, my contact is there. If you have any questions, you can contact me, and I will certainly help you.